To this KE Report webinar. My name is Cory Fleck. I am joined by Jose Viscarra, the president and CEO of OIII Mining. We will get into the OIII presentation here shortly, but I do want to go through just a couple of housekeeping items before we start. You will see on the right-hand screen a couple tabs. The chat tab is public to everybody, so if anybody wants to discuss amongst themselves, feel free to use that. I do recommend using that questions tab. However, that is questions that I can see, and I will work through them, integrate them into this presentation, and also save some for the end of this call when Jose and I will go through a bit of a Q&A format. If any of you are having trouble accessing that questions tab, you can email me directly, fleck@kereport.com, and I will monitor my email. I prefer that you use, again, that questions tab, but hey, if anyone's having some technical difficulties, I will work with you. We are trying a slightly new program for this webinar. So again, any feedback that you have, I am always available on that email address that I have put in the chat. That being said, Jose, let's get started here with this presentation. I will be controlling the slides simply because we have been, well, kind of going back and forth in terms of the best scenario for this. So I will be moving through the slides as Jose is outlining the company. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in. Jose, I'm turning it over to you. Please start off with this presentation. We will move past the first slide and some of this forward-looking information. Everybody can, well, pay more attention to that after, but let's get into it here, Jose.
Well, good morning, good afternoon, everyone, for joining us, and it's a real pleasure to have you all in this webinar. So with no more excuses, we're going to start with the presentation. Of course, the first slide is a very illustrative slide because it essentially shows what we are, and we are the third iteration of the OIII Mining Group. Our founders started with the Canadian Malartic mine. They produced 1 million ounces, and you can see it in the picture on your left-hand side. In our case, I was very much involved with the startup of OIII Mining version 2, which is a windfall deposit, today with 5 million ounces of over 8 grams. And of course, now it's OIII. And OIII is, curiously enough, focused in Val-d'Or, the Valley of Gold in Val-d'Or, where our founders started. So we hope we have the same amount of success as our founders had. And we're working hard towards that. So we can move to the next slide, Cory, if we may. Thanks.
We are there. Do you want the next slide there, Jose?
Yes, please.
There you go. Jose, is this coming through for you? We are in corporate structure now. Do you want me to go back to value proposition strategy?
Yeah, no, I cannot. Sorry, I cannot see the movement of your screen.
Okay, we are on the value proposition strategy. Please, everybody, type in the chat function if it is not moving along with it, but it should be sharing right now.
Okay, well, it's not, but it's fine. With regards to value proposition, what we have is already in our books over 5 million ounces. We have, as of December of last year, $26 million and a little bit. And of course, today, as of March, we have around $25 million. So we're in a pretty, very good position from a cash perspective. And of course, how we are going to grow this company is by increasing the amount of drilling and by finding more ore. The idea is to grow on the upside of our company. And where is the upside? The upside is in Marban, where we are working towards a standalone project, either if it's going to be an underground or if it's going to be an open pitable one. We do have 1.5 million ounces in Marban of over 1.2 grams, which is more than what the Canadian Malartic mine grade is, and they are only 15 kilometers from where we are. And we also have an underground component where we believe internally we have over 450,000 ounces, more towards 500 of 5 grams. So we're working towards that, and if that works, then we'll move towards PEA, pre-feas, and then we're going to build a mine there. So that's advanced. And then we have a bunch of projects in an area that we called Alpha. Alpha standing for high value and high revenue in terms of financial metrics, and that's where we're going to focus. So Cory, if we can go to the slide where we show the map with Alpha, that'll be great.
I believe this is the map. Is this the prolific gold belt, or are we?
Yeah,
what slide would that be?
And unfortunately, I cannot see what you're showing, so I'm just guessing.
The Alpha property, slide 10.
Well, maybe we can stop in the district where you show Timmins and Val-d'Or for 1 second. Sure. And the reason why we have that slide there, it's a very important reason. The reason is because there is more than 100 million ounces that has been produced in that region. The other important thing is that everything is within the Abitibi. I mean, this greenstone belt doesn't stop in the border because one group speaks French and the other one speaks English. The rocks are the same. So we have properties in Timmins, we have properties in Val-d'Or, but we have more importantly, in all that greenstone belt, we have a very important land position with resources. And I imagine anyone that is here is because they like you guys like mining, and you know what mining means, and you know what a resource is. But in any case, if someone doesn't know, to have a resource takes a long time. We have in our company already invested over $60 million, and over 1 million meters have been done in the properties that OIII today manages. So the amount of data we have to work, it is very, very important. Cory, if we can move to Alpha, I think it's number 10, where we show the different deposits that we have, where we show that trend that goes from the triangle mine towards our properties will be great.
We are there. Yes, we're on slide 10, exactly. Alpha property.
So this slide is a very powerful slide because it really shows the different areas where we already have a resource. So if we start from the east, we have a cassava. Very interestingly enough, a cassava, there is a small tenement in the middle of that, and that is Agnico Eagle, which is one of the largest gold mines in the world. And Agnico already got their permits to mine, and we have all the extensions of a cassava. As we progress and move towards the west, then we start looking into our different properties, Orena number 2, Orena number 4, and then we have Bulldog, which is one of our best targets as of today. And as we keep moving towards the west, we have Epsilon and Pontiac, which are in the sediments. And that is a very, very important feature for us, because being in the sediments and being able to find mineralization in the sediments is very important. So to that point, I think one of the important things that we should consider in here is the fact that by being in areas where there is already a resource, we have minimized our risk in a very big way. And what we really want to do here is to minimize risk and maximize value. And one of the important things that we have to think about, and for this, I'm going to ask Cory to help me go into the slide where we show all the different deposits and where we can see how much and how deep they go.
That looks like the next slide. So 1 sec here. Is that this one here, slide 11, the Alpha property longitudinal section?
I'm opening right now in my screen finally the presentation so I can follow you. My apologies for that.
Yeah, no worries. I don't know. It seems like it's translating over okay for the viewers, the attendees. So,
well, that's good. Those are the most important guys that should have that. The slide is number 8. And the reason why I want to go back to slide number 8 is because it really shows what we really intend to do in Val-d'Or. And the most important thing is that deposits in Canada, in particular, the footprint of the deposit are not very big on surface, but they do go very, very deep, and they become world-class deposits. Canadian deposits were never born as world-class, with the exception maybe of Canadian Malartic, which is a very big open pit. But the rest of the deposits became a world-class deposits, like Bousquet, like La Ronde, like Red Lake. All these mines were great mines as they went at depth. So for us, the premise was to have the ability to buy deposits and then go at depth. So with that premise is that we decided to buy the Alpha property. And of course, in order to develop it, we have to drill. And we planned a 50,000 meter program. By the end of last year, we started to drill, and now we have finalized our drilling concordantly with the suspension of activities by the government of Quebec. But the reality is that we would have had to stop anyways by the 1st of April, because April and May is caribou time, so we cannot drill. So it didn't affect us as much, really, the state of emergency in the province of Quebec. Now, in page number 9, page number 10, sorry, the other important thing is that we have this very clear corridor coming from El Dorado mine, or El Dorado company, where they have the Sigma Lamac mine and where they have found the Oramac, in the same direction and intersecting our Bulldog, Orenada 4 and Orenada 2. So with no more, I want to show you a section of what we have here in the different Alpha properties. And we can see now in Orenada 2, Orenada 4, and Orenada 4 Bulldog, where in Orenada 2 and 4, there is already a resource. And what we intend is to focus on these high grades, see and pay attention to the orange and red. And those are actually a metal factor, which means gram per ton meter. This means 7 meters of 3 grams will make 21 gram meter. 3 meters of 21 of 7 grams will make a 21 gram meter. 5 grams of 3 meters will be a 15, etc., etc. So what it really shows is that we have potential here for higher grade, and that's what we're looking at. And if you see at Bulldog, as soon as we start drilling, we have been getting very good results. We have here 1.5 meters of 6.9 grams, 7.5 meters of 6.4 grams, 1 meter of 29 grams, 8.2 meters of 4.8 grams. This is really, really good. We're seeing now Bulldog extending for more than 300 meters on strike and over 500 meters vertically. So we're starting to see now a real deposit here, and we'll continue to drill when we come back, because this is an area that we have to drill while it's winter. But the results on our drilling has been extremely good. Of course, the market has not been paying attention because of different situation that we are going through now with the coronavirus, which I hope all you guys are doing well, and your families as well. And let's look at the positive. This is our time to spend time with the families. So I wish you guys are doing that and taking advantage of that during a very difficult time. And continuing with the story here, in the case of Epsilon going to the west, we found mineralization in the sediments, which again, I feel very privileged and happy about that, because it has not been found before. And here we have like 1.3 meters of 18 grams and 6 meters of 9.3 grams in the area of Epsilon, which is a very good success on our exploration team. And I feel very proud for our group of guys. And in the case of Viscarra, is the same story. I mean, there was a resource from a company we bought called Chalice Gold, and the idea is to increase this resource as we go at depth in Nordo East, Nordo West, and Simon West.
Jose, let me jump in here quickly, just going back to slide 11 here. When you talk about Epsilon, that is very much a new discovery. You don't have as many drill holes in there. No. But for Bulldog, is the goal going to be, or the strategy here, going deeper below this 400 meters that's outlined?
We will go up to 800 meters in the very near future.
How about the other ones to the right as well? Number 4 and number 2, Orana.
We have a plan, which right now, due to the stoppage, we have not finalized that, and we'll have to wait until winter. But the idea is to go at depth into that intersection where it comes from 4 and 2. You know, it almost makes like a triangle there. So we will drill there at depth to prove that the high grade exists there.
Okay. Quick comment on Epsilon 2. What drew you to this target?
Well, all this is a long strike. I mean, this is the most important thing, Cory. You know, we are in an area where the Cadillac break is, which is a very important fault in the district. It is part of the Abitibi, very important part of the Abitibi, part of the Greenstone Belt. And if you see there in the bottom left, you have this purple, which is the Cadillac sediments, and we are just drilling a long strike. It's pretty evident how we have to drill. So we're proving that we have 5 kilometers of mineralization, which is a very important thing to do.
Okay. Here, moving on to the East Cadillac property.
Yeah, sure. So in the East Cadillac property, as I mentioned before, there is a resource, and we're just planning to expand that, going at depth. That's what we're working on now.
Okay. A quick question that just came in too. Are any targets intrusion-related gold systems like Windfall?
Not as of right now.
Okay.
No. We have one called Simcar, and we have another one called Record. These are two properties that we have bought recently, and we are in the process of analyzing the data, or finalizing to analyze the data, because we already knew what we were buying.
All right. Moving on then.
So moving into Marban, Marban is it's really the cherry on top of the pie, and this is really our safety net, if we want to call it. Marban, which is the Marban deposit, which is right in the bottom right. You can see that we have there like 1.5 million ounces, 300 million ounces have been already produced in the early 1900s. 1960s, I think it was. But one of the things that shows our compilation work is that there is potential for high grade. And if you follow these blue lines, which are the Marbanite shear and the Norbanite shear, they are within the Kina gold mine from West Dome. So we expect to have high grade. And of course, now that we have compiled information, we see the high grade here in different areas. We have a meter of 2,000 grams in the bottom right. On the bottom, on the upper right, we have 0.9 meters of 1,000 grams. And you can see the different high-grade areas that we have found from the previous data. Another important thing here, to your point about intrusion, the Camflo mine was essentially establishing an intrusion. It was like a plug. And the Camflo mine was the first mine that Barrick Gold had. They bought it, and with the bought of the Camflo mine in the 1980s, Barrick Petroleum changed their name to Barrick Gold Mines. So it has some sort of a good stigma where we are. We believe that this intrusion is not the only intrusion or not the only plug that goes like a finger, and we're going to try to find other plugs like this. An extra upside on this Marban property, which we are all very, very excited, because there has been a lack of work on the region in general. Most of the work done by our predecessors was mostly in the deposit.
So Jose, what did this Malartic property look like before you guys consolidated this area play? Clearly it was held by a lot of different companies.
Yeah, no. This property was held prior by Nio Gold. We bought it with Osisco, and then we spun it out to OIII. And Nio Gold spent most of their work into the Marban deposit. You have to understand that Nio Gold was almost a subsidiary at some point of the Osisco version 1. And the idea was always to process that ore from Marban into the Malartic gold mine. So I mean, this was the real objective for Nio Gold, and that's why there was very little work done in the region or in the regional exploration, which is the advantage we're taking now. Our predecessors did so much work. The resource is in a great standing. Most of it is in measured and indicated. So we are really in a very, very good shape here.
All right, thank you.
So now we're going to move towards the Goldenberg group. And here, now we're in Timmins, we have around 1.8 million ounces in Garrison. Yes, it's only 1.12 grams per ton. But one important thing to notice here is that if you can put Garrison and Moneta and Pan American Silver assets and maybe some of the Kirkland assets, suddenly you could have in a radius of 25 kilometers more than 6 million ounces of gold. So, of course, with the share price we have today and the market cap we have today, we're not going to be able to be the ones that consolidate everything, but maybe someone will do, and we'll be able to monetize that. And if we do that, then we don't need to go to the market anymore. We'll have our own money to spend in the ground. And finally, and not less important, is a little bit of our history. We took the company public in we did the deal in February for $3.88. We raised $18.6 million. We did the acquisition of Chalice, Alexander, and Harricana between July and August. By September, we were already raising $10.1 million at $4.20. We have bought by December Simca Gold and Callahan. By January, we bought Lubem, which is Record, and now we were in the process of drilling our winter program, where we have shown that we knew what we were doing. We have put good results. And now, unfortunately, due to this COVID-19, we are stopped. We will make sure that everyone is fine before we recommence. And in any case, we cannot recommence drilling until May, as I mentioned before, because we have to wait until the Caribou season is finished. And with this, Cory and our audience, we're finished with our OIII mining presentation.
Okay, a couple questions that have come in. Let's go back to slide 5, I believe, the share structure. Sure. I am moving back to that right now. So the company, because it is so new, there is a nice share structure here, only 47 million shares outstanding, but there is a large portion held by Osisko, Chalice as well. What's the relationship like between these companies, and what sort of future financings, how does it relate to their shareholder stake? Do they need to take part in them? Are there any compete clauses? Can you share any details there?
No, nothing. We do share a lot of our board members with Osisko Mining because it was a spin out. Osisko Mining understands that it's not ideal that Osisko Mining holds such a big chunk of our company. The reason is because we lose the takeover premium. So we understand as Osisko that we'll have to dilute ourselves as we progress. Last year, by October, between my family and 3 different funds in the UK, we bought over 7% of Osisko and 14% of Osisko, and we brought them down from 54 to 40%. So they agreed into that, and that was really, really good. And in the case of Chalice, we bought their properties with shares, and they have honored their word that they will let us know if they have to sell. They have not been able to. They did not want to sell as of right now. And if they do want to sell, they're going to let us know so we can try to help to sell it as a block. But it's a very amicable and friendly relationship with all our major shareholders.
Okay. So are there any covenants in place if Osisko wants to divest any of their portion, or is it just more you guys work together with them to find some? Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. And a couple comments on the resources too. It was noted that a lot of the resources that you are outlining are already measured and indicated. So how quickly, how easily can even inferred ounces be added with the current drill program?
The current drill program is not working on converting any resource. The current drill program is to expand the knowledge that we have in the different areas to make sure that we can create very fast inferred resource in the next campaign.
Okay, so working towards growing these resources. In terms of how you chose to divide drill meters, Alpha's getting 25,000 meters, Malartic getting 10,000 meters. Balance it out. Why is Alpha getting so much more? Malartic, they're still big drill programs, but how did you decide to balance it out this way?
Well, let's start from Malartic and Marban. Marban is an already consolidated deposit where we have to take it to the next phase, which is either we're going to decide to go through an open pit or we're going to go through the underground operation. So we're working right now with the different modelers, geological modelers, and resource modeling guys to see which is the better avenue to go. And but we also wanted to see if we can find more of those camflow plugs or high-grade extensions from Kina. So we figure that if we can drill every 400 meters along that strike where is the Marbenite and the and the Malartic structures, we will be able to get back for our money. So 10,000 meters was exactly what that came up with. And in the case of Alpha, 25,000 meters because it's the largest area. And we knew that we wanted to drill in particularly Bulldog below 500 meters.
Okay. One other comment here regarding if you do decide to move into production at either of these projects, are you right now seeing any synergies between them since you are all in kind of a general area?
There are synergies, of course. Certainly, there is more synergies between the ones that are in Alpha. If we have to put all these land package into production, we probably will need 3 different facilities. One for Marban, one for all Alpha, and one for Cadillac.
Okay. There's another question that just came in. It was emailed to me before. A quick comment. Is there any shorter long-term debt? You and I have already talked about this. So there is not any debt carried by the company or any other encumbrances. Can you share any details on this?
No, we don't have any debt, neither encumbrances.
Okay, so you are clean and ready to go. Now, also with the backing of Osisko, they are a company that brings projects into production, correct? So is the goal here to move this into production, or would you look at potentially selling one or all of these assets?
I think we need to have a vision. Our vision is to put these things into production. But of course, more important than a vision is to maximize the value for shareholders. So as we go and point towards our vision, if someone is willing to pay us enough money that our shareholders are going to make money out of it, we will definitely consider it.
Okay. Any NSR? Are there any NSRs outstanding to any outside companies on these projects?
Yes, they are. In the case of Alpha, they range between 2 and 3% NSR. Most of them are between 2 and 2.5. Sandstorm has some royalties. Osisko royalties have some royalties. I Am Gold has some royalties. Some individual guys have royalties. In the case of Marban, there is a royalty of around 1.5%. And in the case of Viscarra, it varies. In the principal deposit on Simon, we don't have any royalties. We bought it.
Okay. Now, during this shutdown of drilling operations, you even said that in expected in a sense because of the caribou season, but are you taking a relook at a lot of the recent data that you have pulled in and trying to isolate other targets, or are you pretty solid on what you're going after here with the current drill program?
Well, we know exactly what we want to do in the winter. However, this is such a large land package that these couple of months will allow us to work with a couple of groups that we have been working on a proprietary compilation of data and doing a little bit of big data and artificial intelligence with the data that we have. And we expect to come up with very interesting targets. Remember that one thing, Cory, that we don't have to forget about this is Alpha and Cadillac. They both have different styles of mineralization, which just shows how productive is the area where we operate, which is fantastic.
Yeah, you're definitely in an area where there's a lot of activity and even one of the most profitable mines in Canada, maybe even, yeah, well, at least in Canada that is operating there. So you have focused on this area. You already mentioned that you have a large land position. We can see that on the slide that I am showing. Would you be out there acquiring any other land, or are you pretty solid
I
on what
think
you
now
have
we
right now?
have all what we need for the time being.
Okay, fair enough. If anybody has any more questions, please send those in right now. If you come up with any questions after listening to this or listening to the recording, which all of you will have access to very shortly, please email me, fleck@kereport.com. Also, make sure that you check out our website to keep up to date on the companies and, well, everything else that's happening in this well, crazy market that we are in. So, Jose, I appreciate your comments. Do you want to wrap us up with any final comments?
Yes, Cory, thank you so much for your time, and thank you very much for everyone that joined us. It has been a pleasure to have you on this webinar, and I hope I have the opportunity to keep updating you guys with what we are doing.
Okay, perfect. Thank you very much, Jose. I appreciate your time. Please, everybody, keep in touch with me through email and provide any feedback that you have from this webinar. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in. I look forward to touching base with everyone again as we will be ramping up these webinars featuring some of the companies that we are following.
Cory, should
Thank you,
I
everybody.
assume that the guys that are visiting us are okay to receive our information?
Yes, I assume so. But hey, if anybody does not want to receive the information for O3 mining, please, again, just email me. Thank you, everybody.